If you're a coach already making 10K a month, this is probably going to be the most valuable 30 to 45 minutes that you've ever dedicated in 2026. No matter what acquisition funnel that you run right now, whether you run an ads acquisition model, whether it's cold outreach, whether you're simply organic, I'm going to share with you the exact conversion infrastructure that has helped my clients generate multiple millions in the online coaching info space. And what I'm going to share with you is the leaks that are currently happening in your business. I'm going to identify those leaks clearly for you and show you what to fix. There's different leakage points in the business that can happen, from your content marketing angle, from the level of clarity that you have, from your acquisition funnel model, from the way that you make leads unaware to problem aware to solution aware to offer aware to ready to buy clients. In the next 30 to 45 minutes, there's going to be something that hits home with you, something that's stopping you from that ceiling that you can't break past. In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what that is, and you're going to have an aha moment of boom, finally I've found it. Not just the conversion infrastructure that you're leaking from, but how to optimize it, how to fix it, and how to add an extra 20 to 40% more revenue to your business from the existing pipeline you have, from the existing conversation you have in every single month. So yeah, buckle up. This is going to be a very, very intense, valuable video. My name's Isaac. I've been in the info space for over 8 years. I've helped clients generate multiple 6 figures. Some of my clients were making over $1 million per year. And I built out the entire backend for them, the sales process and the different funnel acquisition models, because everything is different. But whatever is different, no matter what acquisition funnel you run, the conversion infrastructure stays the same, because selling is selling, sales is sales, marketing is marketing, and we all still run on the same psychological bias psychology. So if you're a high ticket coach, this video is for you. If you're a low ticket, you haven't broken past that 10K month mark, then you still have so many different bottlenecks in your business that you need to fix. This is specifically for coaches doing high ticket, selling high ticket offers, 3, 5, 10K plus. You've broken past that 10K per month barrier, and now you want to take your income to the next level, you want to take your business to the next level, and you want to build a business, most importantly, that's founder independent, because if you scale with founder dependency, the second you step back, your business collapses. So the question I have for you right now, if you want to stick along and if you're wondering, should I continue watching this video, is simple. If you were to step away from your business for the next 2 weeks, what would happen to your income? Now, you know the answer to that question. And if that answer is my business would collapse or the income would, slow down, then this video is definitely going to help you fix one of those leaks in your business that will allow you to actually scale, build, and still grow as a founder who can detach from the business and have that level of freedom. So let's get straight into the video. I'm very, very excited to bring this to you guys. So now let's break this down. Now what you see right now in front of you on screen is the operational system that has generated $3.3 million in tracked sales. Every single layer, from the acquisition model to the story converting funnel to the KPIs that you and you as a founder run, your ads team operate from, your sales team operate from, your setter operates from, your DM conversion engine, and then lastly, how we actually help you optimize, or how you can now optimize. I'm going to give you that clarity on how you can optimize your DMs using a 3-step protocol, and then also the actual trust proximity. This is probably very, very important, and this is what I'm going to cover with you first. So the trust proximity, what that basically means, and as we go further into this, as you can see here, so the trust proximity, what that basically means is how much trust you have in your industry. The more trust you have, the less you have to focus on top of funnel, because you've already acquired clientele or leads who know who you are, know what you do, and it's more about converting them through the funnel and building the middle of funnel and bottom of funnel assets that actually convert them into paying clients. If you're still below that 30K mark, you still haven't input your footprint into the market just yet, not enough for you to still rely strictly off the leads that are in your pipeline, but you still have to bring new people into your pipeline all of the time. So wherever you are at the stage, I'm going to break down every single layer, every single acquisition funnel that you want to be looking at and running. And then you can, as a founder, you can pick which one works for you. If you're below 30K, I would definitely recommend looking at the IG acquisition type A. If you're above 30K, then look at the IG acquisition type B, because they are slightly different. They do work a little bit differently based on where you are and the ceiling that you hit. If you hit a revenue ceiling of 10, 20K, then definitely still understand that your trust proximity isn't high enough for you to scale without new attention, and your focus should be directed on more attention every single month, even though we're still going to build the conversion layers to help you monetize more from your pipeline, but nevertheless still adding more attention to your business. If you're above 30K, that means you build the trust, people trust who you are, people know about you. You've put your footprint into the market, into your specific niche. So your actual focus as a founder is slightly different, and your goals every single 30 days, every single month, and every 90 days, every quarterly I should be focused on more acquisition. How can I build a better acquisition model to bring more people from my existing pipeline into my business, and then using those acquisition systems such as testimonials, such as client case studies. What bottom of funnel assets can I build? What can I build to actually convert more people? And then you, once again, after you've done that, after you've really dialed that process in and you've built the acquisition so good that you can now revert back to top of funnel, and you have confidence that the system you're running will just cash collect to the T. So if you're a coach below 30K, this is the acquisition model that you run. You're going to be driving traffic from organic, cold outreach, trial ads, advertisements. Now, ultimately, what top of funnel is your traffic mechanism, is cold outreach. So when you want to look at your top of funnel, you want to look at attention gathering methods. What top of funnel assets can I actually build? And top of funnel feels like broad, relatable, snackable. It's bite-sized information. You want to share a bit by your story. You see the most viral content pieces. What are they? They're simple short form reels that show a journey, where the founder was in one stage and where they are now. And ultimately, whether you're B2B, B2C, people want to see your journey. Why are you good at what you do? That's how people connect. People buy from people they want to buy from. So having that story and that connection is very, very vital, because ultimately your top of funnel defines how people perceive you. It defines your content pillars, it defines your content angles, it just defines how you're distributing yourself and you're presenting yourself to the world. So top of funnel is, should be broad, relatable, snackable, touch on the emotion, touch on the story, look at how can I be viral. But very importantly, it's not just about virality, it's about virality within your niche. It's no good just posting viral content that gets viral views. I had a piece of asset that got me 1 million views. It was a super viral video, but it didn't bring me a penny in. So at that point, I've kind of, when I had that realization, I didn't really care about viral anymore. It's more about how can I actually make good content that gets views, might go viral, but gets attention in my niche. That's very important. So top of funnel is basically a story without deep lesson. And then the goal of your top of funnel is to get views, get followers, and get those first DMs in. So attention gathering methods. Now, if you are an acquisition coach below 30K, you are a founder below 30K, then you want to be focusing more of your attention, more of your content pieces into top of funnel traffic. Because ultimately, if you don't have the traffic, you're never going to convert. So every single month, your main focus, and as a founder, you're probably stuck between what type of content do I post the next 8 days. Focus more on top of funnel. Around 70 to 80% of your content pieces should be traffic generating content pieces, because if you don't have the traffic, no matter how good your belief middle of funnel assets are, your conversion action assets are, then you're never going to convert. So from there we go to your beliefs, your middle of funnel. This is about automating the middle of funnel so well that it does 80% of the client conversion. Now, what does middle of funnel really do? It's nurturing mechanisms, and it's specific tactical insight driven reels, YouTube assets. How can I provide proof and processes? How can I display my content to the world? It's the same lessons that you might show in your top of funnel, but now you have a lesson. You break down a process. For example, if you're if you're a sales coach, at the top of funnel it might be sales coaching changed my life. It took me from a kid who was smoking shisha every night, who was going out with his friends, who was smoking weed, who was clubbing, partying, to it changed my life this way. That's your top of funnel. Now, middle of funnel is cool. High-ticket coaching saved my life. It took me from this to this, and this is the 3 steps that you have to take to do the same. It's more lessons, it's more processes, it's more A to B, it's more I did this to get this, and you break down your insights into how you did that. So you're introducing your unique mechanism. Middle of funnel is about introduction of your unique mechanism, because it side by side correlates. If you look at the funnel right now, your acquisition model, as you can see, problem aware to solution aware is done the majority of that is done through the middle of funnel, because you're never going to really make somebody a solution aware in the top of funnel. You want to make them problem aware. You want to agitate the problem so they look deeper into how you can fix it. So top of funnel is about documenting the problems. Middle of funnel is about introducing the solution. Now, going back to the acquisition model, then you have, ultimately you want to automate this process. So you want to have so much middle of funnel content pieces that it does 80% of the conversion. Now, what that means is the better your conversion systems, the better your belief handling systems are, the better you tackle the beliefs that your leads have, the ICP that you have, the better it makes conversion, the easier it makes conversion, because you're not hopping on calls having to hardcore sell people. If you take majority of the acquisition at the middle of funnel and you deliver most of your content pieces, you help ICPs with their problems, you help them deal with their limiting beliefs, you make content that actually helps them with those solutions, it automates a lot of the client acquisition process, regardless of the funnel you're on. It doesn't matter what funnel you're on. And then lastly, your bottom of funnel, which is your conversion mechanisms, which turns your leads into hot leads and ready to buy clients. You want to nurture them with case studies, limiting beliefs, objection handling, VSLs, YouTube long form, and you want to help them take action. So bottom of funnel is conversion focused, it's proof, it's offer positioning. At middle of funnel, the biggest difference is you don't necessarily need to introduce your product. It's about introducing your unique mechanism. And then lastly, you introduce your product, the offer. What's your positioning? What do you help with? What's your deliverables? How do you help this person go from A to B? So that's clear. You want to have clear CTAs. You want to drive leads to take action. You want to ask them to take action. That could be in your reels, on your YouTube, saying, hey, book a call with me to speak one-to-one on a consulting call. That can be, here's a lead magnet, DM me for the lead magnet, DM me for XYZ. So you can actually hop on people, help people with their specific problems, hop on calls and actually have a clear CTA. Look, this is what it costs to work with me. This is how it looks. These are deliverables. These are your book calls, your DMs and your sales. So I hope that makes sense. Ultimately, the acquisition funnel is the same regardless of what you do, but the main difference is if you're above 30K, your main focus should be more middle and bottom of funnel because you've already got the attention. It's about how can we better convert that attention through the acquisition model you run, through the funnel that you run. So that can look like, let's say you run a webinar funnel. That can look like, how can I make the VSL so good when they book a call with me or they book the webinar call that the VSL that they get hit with after the webinar call speaks so directly to their beliefs, speaks so directly to their nurturing, their limiting beliefs that they have, the objection that they might have, the things that they might have about you. How can I tackle those beliefs in 2 to 3 minutes? How can I do that? And then you might be thinking, okay, cool. People are coming through the DMs, they're booking calls with me, but they're not showing. Okay, what's missing? Maybe I don't have a belief altering asset that actually gets them to hop on a call more, that makes them feel more problem aware. So maybe agitating that problem better in the DMs. That might look like better qualifying questions. That might look like a specific reel that you send, a specific pin post that you have on the top of your reels, a specific pin post you have on your main profile page. That could look like, I mean, there's so many different ways. It's very specific to the funnel you run and what you're trying to do and the ICP that you serve. But I hope I'm very clear with that and I hope this is making sense so far. And then lastly, your bottom of funnel, which is also the same, which helps you get clients to pay you. So ultimately, when you're looking at your trust proximity, this gives you as a founder the ability to get super crystal clear on where you should be focusing your attention on. What should I deliver to the marketplace? Should I be delivering more traffic mechanisms to the marketplace, more traffic assets to the marketplace to get the traffic to me? Or should I be delivering more belief altering, more action producing content pieces that actually help me deliver and bring more clients through the funnel? Regardless of where you are, you need to make that conclusive answer yourself. You need to come to that conclusion yourself. Now we're going to go into the sales processes. So sales processes can look a little bit different. When you have less trust proximity in the industry, you typically run a longer sales process. When you have higher trust in the industry, you don't necessarily need to run such a longer sales process because you've already touched and people already know that you're good at what you do. So let's break down every single sales process stage by stage. Okay, so now when you look at your sales process, you want to actually look at how you're acquiring clients. Now this plays directly into the acquisition funnel that you run, and I'm going to share that at the very end, so make sure you stick around. So when you're running traffic, you want to look at how you run traffic. There's different ways that you bring traffic into your business. Ultimately, if you're running a profile funnel, people land on your page. You have short form, you have an IG story funnel which you're posting story sequences, and you have a long form content pieces that help you nurture leads. Then you want to look at your direct infrastructure. Now, people who visit your Instagram professional profile, you want to be hitting them up with retargeting ads. So if you're hitting them up with retargeting ads, it plays a role in the setter to communicate, because if you run an acquisition funnel, this is pretty much why I specialize in. It's DM infrastructure, it's conversion breakdowns and conversion infrastructure relative to the coach, because the biggest misconception in the industry is that every single DM is the same. You know, all you need is a setter, a DM script, and you're good to go. That's far from the truth. Every single DM is different. Every single ICP is different. Every single pain point is different. Every way you can deliver your product and your offer is different. Every way you can communicate is so different. And this is so important to realize as a founder and as a premium coach, is that you want to look at how have you been converting. So what I would do, and this is the test I will run, is I will look at every single conversation you've had in the last 90 days, every single painful, every client who's come through, every call that's been booked, and look at the conversation. import that conversation into cloud. I'll make a separate video on this and I'll show you how this is done. Use a specific system prompt that gives you clarity on what's actually working in the DMs, because a script is only so far, can only take you so far. We're giving your setter a script is good, but that just makes them that just makes them like brain dead. All they're doing is following a script. They're not using their own brain cells. They're not using their own thought processes. They're not thinking, okay, cool, this is what I need to do. Okay, this is what they've said. How can I tackle this? Because you hand somebody a script. What you want to be doing as a founder is providing them with SOPs, understanding, okay, cool, if this happens, this is what needs to be done, and this is why. The second your setter, because you're a 6-figure coach, you're a 7-figure coach, the second your setter understands that and actually can think like you, and why you do what you do, that's the second your DMs go to the next level. If you have a setter who's making 2, 3, 5K a month, their whole mindset is different. You know this. The person you were when you were making 5K a month, the person you were when you were working a dead-end job versus the person you are now is two separate people. The way you think is very different. So you want to help your setter get clarity on this. You want to help your setter understand your ideation process, your sales systems, your thinking, so that they can actually integrate that into their conversation flows when they're helping leads get into book calls. Now, the way you do this is, once again, you look at your last 90 days, 180 days of leads who came through your funnel, who purchased, why did they purchase. Look at the conversations that you've had with them. Understand those conversations. Plug that into AI, get clarity on that. When you've got clarity on that, then you can actually build out new SOPs, new touch points. You can see where leakage is happening, and then you can correct that and you can make that better, and so that your conversion is better on every layer. You increase your revenue per 100 conversations, you increase your book, show, and close rate, which ultimately will help you make more money without any more attention. And this is also what I help my clients build. I help them build that infrastructure, and I do this done for you for them. So if you are interested in that, you can book a call below and speak to me one-to-one. Now back to the video. You want to be ultimately running ads. You have your DM setter who communicates, you have your conversations, you have your follow-up sequences, you have your value asset delivery, you have your DMs locked in. Now the difference between a coach that's below 30K and above 30K is this sales process. When you're below 30K, you have to build more trust. So there's different ways you can do that. You can do that through a heavier pre-call. So between the book and the call, you can be more heavier. You can deliver more VSLs, you can deliver more assets. What I've noticed is that time space between those two is very fragile. There's not a lot of space. So leads that are not very warm and you've kind of cold closed them into a book call, because everybody hops on book calls now. You're not the first person to book a call with somebody. You're not going to be the last person that they book a call with, and you're definitely not the first person that they've ever booked a call with. So when you're trying to deliver that, and every coach does this, they hop on a call or they book a call, then they send a VSL, they send something that nurtures the lead, and then they hop on a call. Instead, look at running something like this. So in your conversation, you can have a Loom video that provides value to your clientele. So that you reframe, you twist it, you reverse. Everything I like to do is about reverse. How can I now get the lead to want to hop on a call with me? Now the DM flows, that's a separate conversation. I can make a separate video on that. But right now what you want to be looking at is maybe looking at having a diagnosis call. So on this diagnosis call is a 15 to 20 minute call, because everybody in the industry knows that if you book a call with somebody, they're going to pitch you on that call. Now what if you twist that and you actually flip down his head? You don't pitch, you don't sell. Instead, you actually genuinely run a diagnosis call. You understand your ICP, you understand you spend 20 minutes with them and you just understand what their pains are. You understand everything, you collect the data, so then what you can do is when you set up the second call, which you also do on the first call, when you set up the second call, you can actually send a tailored offer. You can send a tailored breakdown. You can do an offer breakdown that's tailored to a Loom video. You can send a business proposal. So now the entire process feels more custom. And when you're selling high ticket, having something that feels more custom, more tailored will definitely help increase your conversion rate. So this is something that you should look at if you're below 30K. Even if you're above 30K, look at how you can personalize that experience and how you can be different in the industry. Everybody runs the same funnel. Everything is the same. How can you flip it on its head and be different? From there, you book your second call, you have a closed client, your 3 to 10K offer, you have a closer, you have your onboarding, you have your delivery mechanisms. Use your testimonials in your fulfillment to re-deliver that in your middle and bottom of funnel content. You have your client results. You maybe have a client success manager, and then ascension. How can you ascend your clientele? How can you make proximity offers? What I mean by proximity offers is how can you increase the proximity, because ultimately when you're a coach, the reason somebody pays you and you're a consultant is due to proximity. They want closer proximity to you, hence why they pay you. So if you're doing a coaching offer, how can you maybe make a proximity that offer that gives them maybe 2 to 3 calls a week, maybe gives them direct access to you, maybe you visit them if you're in your locality, in your local area, you visit them, I don't know, wherever it is. But ultimately your upsell should be proximity. The closer proximity, the higher they pay. Maybe look at monthly revenue. Cross-sells, this is completely separate. This is your onboarding fulfillment after they've been fulfilled, after they've been onboarded, after they're a paying client. That's something you can look at to increase your LTV every single month. Now, when we look at the sales process for a coach above 30k, it's pretty much the same. The only real difference is you can have a less of a you don't need to do the diagnostic call. You can basically get them on a conversation. You can direct that conversation to a sales call, and you can pitch on the sales call because you have more trust in the industry, because you have more, you have more credibility. Right now in 2026, trust is the highest thing is at its all-time lowest. In 2026, trust in the info space is at its all-time lowest. So when you have that trust, you can go directly into a sale. Of course, you have your nurturing assets before. You position your offer, you present your offer, blah, blah, blah. You have a VSL that does all of that. You already know what to do there. And then you have your delivery process. So the real difference between a coach that's doing above 30k and below 30k is kind of looking at how can I deliver more? How can I flip the sales process on its head? How can I go against the grain and do something that the lead doesn't expect me to do? Every lead expects you to close on that call. Every lead expects them to be pitched on that call. How can I reframe that? And having a slight longer sales process builds that trust and will definitely increase your conversion rate for sure. So now what I've gone through is your content and your sales process. Now let's get into the day-to-day application of what that looks like as a coach in your day-to-day as a founder. That looks like story reels. That looks like your KPIs. That looks like your DMs. And they're the main assets that you use to actually have conversations with leads, and they're the way that you present yourself. Because if you have no stories, you're not seen that day. If you don't post on your story, you're not seen. If you don't have any traffic running, maybe you don't have any outbound cold outreach done, you don't have any sets or doing any inbound leads, you don't have any ads being placed, then you're not being seen. So this is your day-to-day activities as a coach, is to be seen. You might have a setter who runs outreach, you might have an ads manager who runs ads, you might have somebody who runs your IG stories, wherever it may be. You might be even doing this yourself. These are the KPIs that you need to be looking at, and these are where you're going to find some of the leaks in your business. Now, an IG story converting flow. How to turn your IG stories into a highest converting mechanism to turn followers into premium clients. Now this is phase 2, selling with stories. Why stories work so well is because they generate attention, they create FOMO and scarcity, they deliver your nurturing assets, they have CTAs to warm leads, and they build trust and authenticity. The main goal of IG stories is to make it inevitable for your followers to work with you. Your offer has to be value packed and unique so that each time you share, people can't help but feel FOMO. So you show them my offer produces insane results for my clients. You display that you display your done for you, done with you systems that no one else is doing. You touch on your different unique mechanisms, you touch on the ICP pain points, you touch on your deliverables. Ultimately your story sequences should do one of these things. I'm going to actually share with you what they should be doing daily, and these are different 5 story types. I'll get into that in just a minute or two. Before we do, there's 5 types of story sequences that you can run, and it all depends on your ICP, the ICP that you serve. Understanding that ICP and what they want, what do they want to achieve, how can we deliver results to them, how can we help them, and then you tailor that into that every single day, into your stories every single day. So let's say you have 1 to 5k followers, you have a view rate on your stories of 9 to 11%, you have a reply rate of 7 to 10%, qualified 30%, book calls 30%, close rate 30 to 50%. You can cash collect an extra 30 to 60k per month just from stories alone if you're posting stories every single day. This is a very time-consuming activity, but it has massive ROI because every single day you need to be seen. Ultimately, what you need to realize as a coach is that no one, and this is very, very important, this is a very pivotal lesson, and as soon as you integrate this into your mind, it's going to help you understand that you don't have to always be selling, you don't have to get angry when leads don't buy from you. Understand this. When I got into the industry back in 2018, the whole thing was you have a conversation, you book a call. Fast was the main thing. What I realized now in 2026 is that slow is a new fast. Have genuine conversations. Slower the sales process, because when you do that and you're consistently posting leads, eventually trickle through. You don't have to have a conversation today and aim for that book call tomorrow. You can have that conversation today and then it might die out. But they're seeing you every single day on your stories. And eventually, 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, they will come around and pay you. So slow is the new fast. And this is why it works. The 100-day compound rule. You're building recognition between day 1 to day 30. They start to see your name daily. Day 30 to day 60, you're building trust. They start believing that you're the real deal. Day 60 to 90, you're building desire. They start watching every sequence. And day 90 to 100, your audience starts reaching out and DMs show themselves. This is the only rule that matters. Post every single day for 100 days. You can't fake 90 days of daily exposure, daily presence. It has to be earned. Okay, and there's 5 different story types. Story type 1 is curiosity and pattern interrupt. Show a hook, your shocking number, your mechanism, teach them, and then have a CTA. Step 2 is you're creating FOMO, your urgency, your scarcity. Proof demand is real. Provide screenshots and numbers, and then provide limited access CTA to a value asset or lead magnet, something that looks like this. And then credibility and social proof. This is the highest conversion. Stack your proof. Show before and after. Name the mechanism. Helping a client go from 0 to 135k was pretty easy. I'm going to uncover the inefficiencies we had to fix to sustain those 6-figure months. Speak directly to the ICP, hit out that pain point and deliver it. Provide value. Show how it works. Show unique mechanisms. Shift beliefs. Shift the belief. Name the belief that they have. When you know what your ICP's limiting beliefs are, speak directly to that in your stories. Throw a rock in there. Reframe. Provide proof. Provide a CTA. This is one of my clients that I was working with, Vincent Fisher. Where he came to me. When he came to me, etc., and how we helped him, and the limiting belief that I helped my clients fix. For example, was every coach thinks they need to be burning out on content, and that stops scaling systems. Blah blah blah. How can we uncover that? How can we reframe that and provide proof? Now, lastly, building trust and authenticity. Not every day do you need to be pitching. Not every day should you be pitching. Some days you should just be speaking to the camera, speaking about yourself, just speaking, having a conversation, getting people to know about you. For some days I might just share myself being in the gym. There's no CTA. It's just getting people to know about my day-to-day, where I'm at, what stage of life I'm at, what my thoughts, and have that authenticity, okay? And then these are the 5 story types that you should be doing every single day, so that the compound actual rule applies. And this is going to help you cash collect an extra 30 to 60k per month from stories, because every single day someone's seeing you. If you don't get seen, out of sight, out of mind. I learned this from Grant Cardone many years ago. And these are the phase 3, you master your 5 sequences. Once again, this is how it can be done. This is what it can look like. Helping somebody, okay, I help this person gain this many followers, blah blah blah. So that's what your story sequences look like. And this is the weekly story operating system. So on Mondays, you should be sharing client results and mechanism breakdowns. Tuesdays, belief breakdown. Wednesday, a free asset, a lead funnel drop. Thursday, client results, a before and afters. Friday, a hard CTA, a call booking. Saturday, a personal win. What's something that's going on in your life that you're happy about? And then Sunday, something about not business related. It might be your faith, it might be gym, no pitch. Because this is what builds authenticity. And then have 4 ready to post story sequences, belief sequences that help deliver to every single objection. So each week you should be delivering and breaking down the story beliefs, the limiting beliefs that your clients have. And then you look at your outbound KPIs. What's your current KPIs? Do you run follow-ups, cold outreach, trial reels, having an understanding of your overall traffic generating mechanisms, your IG ads, all of your traffic mechanisms. And this is the game changer. This is the DM conversion engine, because if you run a DM acquisition funnel, this is probably the most pivotal layer, and this is what I specialize in. So make sure you get your pen and notepad out, because I'm going to show you where your current leakage is happening and the biggest error on what you can fix right now to break past that revenue ceiling that you have. So just to give you a recap, what we've gone through so far is we've gone through the different acquisition funnels that you're going to be running. Okay, type A, type B, where you are in your business, the different sales processes that you can run, and then what that looks like on a daily basis, how we can actually run that funnel on a daily. That's story sequences every day, that's outbound KPIs, that's inbound leads coming in, and now the DM conversion system, from the content, from the traffic on how your funnel looks, to the daily KPIs on how to actually communicate with your leads and how to actually get more traffic to you, and now the DM conversion engine on how we actually communicate. Because communication, this is the biggest layer of the entire funnel. This is how you communicate with leads. No matter how much content you post, no matter how much people see you, until you communicate with them, you never build that rapport. You cannot build the same level of rapport without communicating. The second you communicate, the second they hear your voice note that's sent specifically for them, is the second that trust is initiated, that rapport is built, and they feel like they've got to know you. And you can never do that through any piece of asset. No short form can do this, no long form can do this. The only way you can do this is through direct communication. So let's break down the DM conversion engine. So this is a DM conversion engine. It collects more revenue from your existing traffic by turning DMs into a predictable sales system. Now, right now, what you need to realize is that right now you run DMs, you have conversations, you have tracking in place. No coach above 10K doesn't track. Like, this is what I need you to realize. There's not a coach that above 10K doesn't track. But what most coaches don't do, and I understand why this happens, and it's not a dig, or it's not me saying anything, or it's not me coming at coaches. It's simply the fact that when you're a founder, there's so many different areas to run in a business. Like, there's so many things to do. So it's very difficult to isolate on one thing. But something that's super important is that every single conversation, this is the biggest asset that you have. This is the biggest value asset that you have. This is the biggest asset in your business, because ultimately every single conversation, every single client derives from the DMs, right? Every single client that pays you comes from having a conversation in the DMs. So if you put more focus into this, it would help you increase your revenue drastically, and it'll help you break past that ceiling. And the thing that I'm going to share with you right now isn't just having a conversation. It's how can I understand the best conversations? How can I understand what's happening here? How can I realize, okay, what's the best line of messaging is happening? Because the way I look at DMs is like a train track. There's 10 different train tracks, and there's the one location, which is the destination. There's 10 different ways you can get to the same destination, but there's only 1 to 2 that are the best. And when you actually collect all of these 10 different ways, like the 10 different conversations you've had, and you see, okay, these 10 conversations have been had, there's pretty much 1 or 2 ways that every single conversation is taking place. And there's different entry points, there's different phases, and there's typically 9 phases. Every DM process, every successful DM sequence, every single successful DM framework has around 7 to 9 pieces. And they're always the same, but they can be placed in different locations. So for example, the rapport can be a bit later rather than a bit sooner. The authority, the value positioning, the value drop, the asset delivery can be a bit sooner, because if you're a coach who's new and maybe you're running cold outreach, you have to deliver your asset sooner because you haven't built the trust to continue the conversation long enough, because the conversation might die out. So everything is different and it's specific to the coach themselves. And what you're looking at here is how can I deliver this? Because I don't want you to be a coach that's stuck in the DMs. That's not the objective. The objective is how can I understand the DMs so well that I can display that information to my setter, to whether that's AI or whether that's a human setter. How can I set the KPIs? How can I have the performance metrics? How can I have the right tracking? How can I oversee everything so I have total clarity on the most valuable asset in my business? And how can I help my setter increase their metrics? That's what I want to reframe, and that's what this engine helps you do. It doesn't help you get more into DMs. I don't want you to be in DMs. I don't want you to send a single DM. I want you to understand what's going on here and not give your valuable asset away to a setter. So let's break this down. Step 1 is understanding your ICP filter. So define who enters your DM system. Define level 1, level 2, level 3. Because if your coaches or if your setter is speaking to ICP that are not going to ever pay you the level 1, then you're only wasting set time. They're only wasting your time, because their working hours are not focused on actually speaking to ICP that are going to pay you money. So that's something that you need to fix. Making sure that your setter has total clarity on who are ICP, what's the level 1, what's level 2, and what's level 3, and most importantly, how can they actually differentiate? How can they understand what's the difference? What do they need to look at? Maybe a level 1 doesn't have many story sequences. Maybe a level 1 doesn't have many testimonials. Maybe a level 1 doesn't have much content, but a level 3 will definitely have content. They'll have case studies. They'll have a link in their bio to a YouTube that has a decent amount of following. That's ideal clients. So how can they qualify? What must they look for? So they're having a conversation with the right people. Because ultimately there's only 24 hours in a day. And if your setter is spending 1 to 2 hours wasting time speaking to level 1 leads, they're only going to filter through your funnel, and they're going to hop on calls with you, and they're never going to pay you. And that ruins your entire metrics of your book rate, show rate, and then you start scratching your head thinking, what's going wrong? The conversation your setter has downstreams, everything downstream from there. Look at your pre-outreach system. How can you initiate? How can you warm leads, or maybe like a post or two? How can you actually look at the accounts and have a genuine conversation? Because nobody does this in the space. Nobody actually has a look at this person's account. Maybe they're a B2B coach, maybe they're a B2C lead. How can I look at a coach and what stands out to me? What do I see that I can actually deliver in the conversation to feel like it's more personalized? The second you do that, you'll realize that your conversations go further down the line, and that will increase your book show and close rate. And then the SOPs in place, the performance tracking systems, understanding your outreach, your replies, having numbers, having the actual numbers to see this, how many outreaches have been done, how many inbounds are coming in, how many replies have been had, how many conversations go past the fourth message, how many book calls are had, how many clients closed. Not just the basic metrics that everyone does, but going that level deeper, looking at how many times does a book call get sent. How many times does my lead actually say, okay, do you want to hop on a call? How many times do they request a book call? How many times does a book call take place? So I understand if I send 5 book call links, then 3 of them actually hop on a call. Or 3 apply and then 2 hop on a call. So now I know my metrics are that. Then I look at, okay, even before that stage, how many times will my setter actually request a book a call? Maybe they request 10 times and 5 people book a call. Now I'm getting so much more clarity in my DMs and I'm feeling more confident. This is the biggest leakage point that most coaches have. The second you feel more confident and you have better clarity, it gives you the ability to lock in on how to fix the leakage points. And you're only going to fix these leakage points once you actually do this for your business. This is just a strategy. Until you go into your business and you add these metrics and you actually oversee everything I'm sharing with you now, is the second you'll get more clarity. So if I could just say one thing to you, even if you take nothing from the rest of this video, this entire DM conversion engine, look at what I'm saying and actually run this for your own coaching business. Look at your last conversation and derive how did that take place. What's your phase 1? It's the entry level. What's your phase 2? Building rapport. How are you transitioning? What's the best line of transitioning? What's got the best leads to transition? Maybe one specific message doesn't allow me to transition very well and that keeps killing the conversation. Now we need to identify that and we need to kill that. So the only way you can do that is actually by looking at your DMs and spending 3 to 5 hours a week actually looking at what's going on. How can we build that authoritative layer? How can we demonstrate expertise without asking? Instead of saying, are you tracking? How can we deliver? Okay, say most coaches at your level are dialed in. How can we conversate? Every single coach is the same. They're so direct. What you want to be doing is be direct whilst being indirect. Be direct whilst being indirect. You can ask the same question but in a different way. Frame the question differently. How can you problems solve? How can you build the problem? How can you find the problem? How can you make them realize the gap themselves? How can you deliver a specific asset? How can you make them agree to it? And how can you obviously then book a call? What SOPs do you have? Do you have a follow-up engine? Do you have a question timing system? Do you have an objection framework? Do you have a setter mindset? They're not a salesperson. They're not a closer. They're not a DM spammer. They are a back-end revenue optimization specialist. Don't just treat your setter as a setter because that's when they operate your business as a setter. Give them the mindset. Maybe once a week, hop on a call with them. Understand, how can you get your mindset into theirs? Because you're a high-ticket entrepreneur. You're a high-figure coach. What did you have to do to go from where you were to where you are now? You're not the same person. Maybe you look at different money. Maybe you look at money differently. Maybe you look at speed differently. Maybe you look at your waking hours, your time. Maybe your setter doesn't go to the gym. How can I help my setter get in the gym? Because then they have clarity of mind. They're better. They're performing better. So they can perform better in my DMs. I bet you've never ever thought of this. And how can I call transition? How can I make the call feel so natural that the next step is just meant to happen? And then your outreach activity. What's the KPIs that you set to have? What's your reply metrics? Have you got total clarity on your reply metrics? Do you know what your outreach reply rate is? Do you know what your inbound reply rate is? Do you know what your conversation metrics are? Do you know what your qualification metrics are? All of these metrics are so pivotal. They're so important. And when you get clarity on these and you have the percentages, you have the metrics, then you can see how can I optimize these metrics? How can I make them 2 to 3% better? And that's when we look at the actual acquisition funnel and we see how we can do that. And the second you do that, you'll break past the ceiling that you're at and you'll gain hours back in your time. You'll be able to step back as a founder, have more founder independency, and your business will be forecast. You'll be able to forecast revenue. You'll be able to see this month we have this many conversations. If we did this, we'll bring in this much in per month. So you can actually forecast for the next 30 to 60 days. And that's so important because every single month, you don't want to be focused on attention. How am I going to hit the record month? How am I going to still make this type of money? Nobody wants to ever go down. I had a coach who made 200K a month. I helped him scale to 200K. 90 days later, he was at 7K to 9K. That happened because the infrastructure wasn't built. Build the infrastructure, you don't have to worry every single night and think this thing is going to collapse. Because that's the last thing that we want. Your revenue to collapse, your income to collapse, your business to collapse. And most coaches between the 10 to 30K mark are only one bad month away from their entire business collapsing. only one bad month away. And I've experienced that personally. Around 7 months ago, I lost absolutely everything in my personal life. I lost my business, I lost everything the same week I got married. That's a separate video, you can check that out on my YouTube as well. And on SOPs, voice SOPs. Voice notes are so powerful. Voice notes are so powerful because they build a level of trust that you can't do. The RCPG framework: relate, context, pattern, gap. The objection and belief tracking SOPs. The current baselines. What's your current baseline? And how can we improve that baseline? Ultimately, you want to control the conversation. The final principle is control the conversation. Slow is the new fast. Don't chase the outcome, make the outcome inevitable. Make the call become inevitable. Have your KPI benchmarks that you and your set to optimize. And then we look at the 3-step conversion protocol. I call this a 3-step protocol. And this is probably the biggest thing that you can do to systematically increase your booking show and close rate. And that's looking at your booking rate optimization. Fixing where conversations fail to convert into calls. These are the steps that you will take to do so. And the outcome is a control system where conversations consistently convert into book calls, not dependent on luck. Then you will look at your show rate optimization, ensuring book calls actually turn into attended leads. And the way you would do that, and the outcome that would give you, is prospect show up prepared, engaged, and already bought into the process. Okay? And then lastly, your step 3 is your close call optimization, increasing the percentage of calls that convert into clients. And then look at your outcome. What's that? Higher close rates through pre-sold, pre-qualified, high intent prospects. And the final principle here is the more work done before the call, the less selling required to do. The result is a predictable, scalable client acquisition system, higher booking rate, higher show rate, higher close rate, predictable weekly revenue, and this all derives from the biggest conversion asset in your business right now, which is the DMs. And this is primarily what I come in and help clients with through the revenue infrastructure architecture system. So if you're a coach who wants that implementation done for you, done with you, that's why I come in and help you as a consultant, as a conversion specialist who sits alongside you in the set of KPIs, inside the KPIs, inside the conversion process to help you optimize every single layer, so you're founder independent, you're scaling without chaos, and your business can grow faster than ever. That's why I do. If you do want to work one-to-one with me, or you want to get a better understanding on how I help do that and how I can help you do that, link is below. Book a call with me. I want to hop on a revenue audit call. Lastly, the DM acquisition funnel. So far what we've gone through is the trust proximity, what you should focus on as a founder, what your main focus should be, your sales process, how you should structure your sales process, what that looks like on a day-to-day. That's your story sequences, your outbound KPIs, your inbound KPIs, your DM conversion funnel, your engine on how you're actually communicating and booking calls, and then your 3-step protocol that you should be running from now on. Now, this is how this all plays out. Everything I've shared with you now ties into this. So the second you have this data is the second you can build out this. Because without this data, you can't build this out. And this is what's going to give you the ability to look at your business and say, okay, this month, what do I want to focus on? This month, what's my ICP's limiting beliefs? It might be this. How can I deliver a middle of funnel asset piece? How can I make a short form reel that hits that? What do I keep seeing in my DMs? Now you build from the bottom. This is the reverse acquisition funnel. There's 5 stages to turn leads into paying clients. That's taking them from unaware to problem aware to solution aware to product aware to most aware. And this is how it's done. We start from the very bottom. And the goal of the bottom of funnel is to get conviction after the post-diagnosis call, pre-close call. Conversion at bottom of funnel occurs when the proof has stacked beyond doubt, the ROI is mathematical, and every objection has been pre-handled. And you do that through your bottom of funnel win condition. You know what the condition is for you to win. You know what your ICP limiting beliefs are. You have the framework to tackle them. You have every objection framework in place. You have a built-in custom proposal document. You have your deliverables. Your client deliverables. What are your deliverables? You have your proof. How do I display this? Through proof, through mirror boards, through processes, through positioning. And then what's your nurturing framework? What's your 3-layer bottom of funnel stack? It's long form. It's a post book call VSL sequence. It's a custom business proposal and an undercover VSL loom, wherever it may be. Now you know what to build because you have the clarity that you've collected from your business data over the last 90 days. And that's when you build out your funnel from the bottom. Because here is when we make leads most aware. We make them most aware and we make them solution aware in the bottom of funnel. Then we make them problem aware solution aware and problem aware here. Here we made them offer aware, and then we made them solution and problem aware in the middle of funnel, and then taking them from unaware to problem aware through the top of the funnel. And the middle of funnel works similar. Ultimately, the middle of funnel is getting clear on the structural truth that your ICP refuses to face. Conversion at middle of funnel occurs when the leak becomes visible, the mechanism becomes credible, and the cost of inaction is significantly too high. And that's how it's done. You look at every single ideation checklist. What limiting belief am I cracking? Which case study am I leveraging? Which framework am I exposing? This is how you build out your acquisition model. Regardless of the funnel you run, this is very, very important. And I hope everything is making sense. Ultimately, what the reverse acquisition funnel does, and let me just give you clarity on this. The reverse acquisition funnel gives you clarity on what your business looks like and how you can build from the bottom up. How you can build from the bottom up and build your business so you can acquire clients every single month and you can have ready to buy clients. So your middle of funnel, what's your deliverables? What's your creative formats? What's the best creative formats that you run? What's your DM setting Loom library looking like? What's your email sequences? What's your middle of funnel and bottom funnel win? How do you do that? How do you make leads problem aware to solution aware? What's your central conversion asset? How do you do this? This is the how. So now you've understood what your business is doing. Now you can actually think, okay, Isaac, or you as a founder, how can I actually do this? How can I deliver this? What's the best method I can deliver? How can I conversate? How can I communicate? That's what this gives you clarity on. And then lastly, your top of funnel attention is pretty much getting clear on the market niche you will target. Conversion occurs when ICP's biggest pain point is triggered in their mind through your messaging. And that's how it's done. You call them out, your creative formats, and what's your personal brand built on? What does somebody think when they first see you? What's your layers that you build on? Is it personal growth? Is it authority? Is it trust? And these things hit the follow button. And then you look at your IG profile, and everybody runs an IG profile now. What's your IG profile? So ultimately, your top of funnel needs to have the credibility vote in it so that you can actually deliver yourself correctly. When people land on your account, they understand what you do. Your profile needs to deliver what you do, how you help, how you're an authority, the type of people you scaled before, your credibility vote, client was. We all know this. This is something that you're already doing. You're already coaching, making 10K. Your IG story funnel, your leakage magnets. What mechanisms do you have? What assets do you provide to make people from problem aware to solution aware? Your middle funnel, your top of funnel, your YouTube converting funnel. So this is basically everything that you build, and this is your reverse acquisition funnel that helps you get more clients in, understand your metrics, understand your data, and how can I optimize every single metric to increase by 5 to 10% so you can grow your business, you can break past that ceiling. And it goes on sales psychology. What's the 5 stages to turn leads into paying clients? It builds on that. Everything that you do gives you, you understand, okay, how can I make people problem aware in this stage? My leads have this problem, my ICP is this. How can I deliver a mechanism? How can I make a lead asset? How can I make something that helps solve that without me directly having to do it? Because everybody nowadays, they're so direct. How can I be direct with being indirect? How can I make the customer experience feel so unique? How can I make sure that I deliver the same objective, I get to the same goal by making them problem aware, but go through a unique method that they never even realize I've done this? And that's marketing 101. That's how you market, that's how you sell, that's how you close. That's how you build a business, a 6 to 7 figure operating machine that just brings you clients in abundance, because you're so different. The experience you provide clients is so unique that clients just are attracted to you. So this is the entire operating system that you as a founder right now can start looking at, finding the leak points in your business and optimizing them and taking your business above that ceiling that you're at. This is everything I've labeled out. It's been a long video. I hope I've provided a ton of value, got across a lot of different touch points, and you can kind of understand where things are leaking, because all I've done is display what should be done. And naturally, when I've done that, you will understand your business better than anybody. So you found out the leak points in your current business through what I've delivered. And I've shared with you how you can fix them as well. So there you have it. That's the entire conversion infrastructure that you can build up right now. As a coach, you hit a revenue ceiling, and now you found the leak points in your business on what you can actually optimize. Now, if you actually want clear-cut clarity on what those actual metrics look like and how much actual revenue you can be collecting from optimizing your conversion layers, like your DM acquisition model, like your close, book, show rate, adding the revenue per 100 conversations to your business, then here's what to do. In the link below, book a one-to-one 20-minute revenue audit call. We'll break down your numbers, your live metrics, and show you what that looks like, optimizing every single layer by an additional 5, 10, 15%. And you're going to be shocked, surprised, and flabbergasted by how much actual revenue you're leaking every single month, because every single six-figure entrepreneur that I share this to is just shocked. They're focusing on attention, they're focusing on content, they're focusing on more ads, more volume, more, and that just builds chaos in the business. So let me help you unpeel the layers, uncover what's leaking, and help you fix that. If you want that and you do want to apply to work one-to-one with me, the same link applies. We'll hop on a call, see if we're a fit for each other, run down the metrics like normal, and then from there we can have a conversation. Regardless, if you just want your metrics uncovered live for you to actually see how you can build, scale, and grow, link is in the bio. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you, dropping the game on you. My name is Isaac. If you did find value in this piece of content, then make sure you do like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.